if they're able to hang with Mississippi State here in a very tough place to play. Humphrey Coliseum, good crowd filling in here for a Sunday afternoon. Mississippi State in the home white, and we are underway here in Starkville.
Well, Alabama pretty much conceded that tip as 4 players were back to make sure Mississippi State did not score off the tip. Expect to see a mixture of man as well as 2-3 matchup zone from Alabama.
Early turnover for Mississippi State. They have struggled to take care of the basketball over these last few games. Off the hands of Deja Benjamin, who is in the starting lineup here today. She's been battling with a foot injury, but able to give it a go. We'll keep an eye on number 24 today as Lewis gets caught in deep. Back out to Benjamin. Hand it off to Copeland, who can't hit. But a second chance here for the Crimson Tide.
I think the keys for Alabama on the road today, they've got to take care of the ball. They must get to the free throw line. And as we just saw, they've got to be competitive on the glass. If not win the battle of the boards, stay close.
See if Alabama can get Jasmine Walker a touch. She's being defended by Jackson, and as the shot clock is winding down, it's a three-pointer from Jordan Lewis.
Well, Eric, you mentioned Jordan Lewis's recent struggles offensively, but she had 12 stitches in her hand because of a kitchen accident where a bowl broke in her hand. So 4 games she really struggled from the field, but she's hitting her stride in the last 2.
And I'm glad you made that point because you saw the numbers and you wonder, wow, she was really in a slump. Well, a lot of players probably just would have sat out for a few games, but we've seen Jordan through her career. Remember last year she was playing with a broken hand, and she played another game with that broken hand before they really knew what was happening. So she's a tough player.
Well, to take the step further, it was her right hand, her shooting hand. So especially as a point guard who handles the ball and has been their leading scorer, it was a tough 4 games for Jordan Lewis.
Once again, the shot clock winds down. Abrams works inside, and Alabama is out to a 5-0 lead. Megan Abrams, a sophomore out of Lafayette, Louisiana, averaging 7 points a game, had 5 points in 21 minutes in the win against Florida. See the starting 5 for Mississippi State. Carter, number 2 in scoring. Jackson, number 1 in scoring at 15 points a game.
Well, Alabama was hoping their 2-3 matchup could contain some of that dribble penetration, but that time just the sea parted, and Taylor did a great job getting to the rim.
Lewis, good defense by Taylor, got a hand in there. Chloe Bibby starts it back the other way. The bounce to Jackson, the assist to Taylor.
And Eric, that is how Mississippi State puts so much pressure on you to make buckets, because if you don't, their transition defense is so good and they get the ball off the floor so quickly that it's difficult to get back.
Lewis will have her hands full with Danbury. Very good on-ball defender. She gets a steal, and here come the Bulldogs. Taylor can't hit the pull-up, and the loose ball picked up by the Tide. It will slow things down. Alabama beat Florida in Tuscaloosa on Thursday. They were down by 6 in the 4th, went on an 8-0 run to go in front and then pull away, winning 69-62. Danbury with Lewis back.
And if you're a Mississippi State fan, you're excited to see Danbury's defense be so strong here early in the game, but more importantly, that she's getting out in transition and looking for her shot.
After Alabama scored the game's first 5 points, Mississippi State on a 6-0 run. And a turnover for the Tide. Taylor to Bibby. The run continues for State.
And Christy Curry told us they needed to try to keep their turnovers total for the game at 13 or less. Already in this game, Alabama with 2 that have led to easy transition buckets for Mississippi State.
Alabama averaging 15 turnovers a game. More importantly, Mississippi State turning opponents over better than 21 times a game. So that 13 number seems pretty ambitious. We'll see if they can get close to it.
But Eric, it's not just the turnovers, it's how Mississippi State converts that into easy scoring opportunities, averaging 24 points a game. And there, Danbury almost got another 2.
That's the third turnover of the quarter for Alabama. A lot of substitutions coming in. Let's take you back to the transition.
Eric, I'm a big believer that Mississippi's mojo comes from their transition off of their defense. Here, senior Danbury takes it coast to coast. And then yet another turnover by Alabama allows Maya Taylor to start the break and then set Bibby up for the easy two.
Danbury gets caught in deep, back outside to Jackson. Amber Richardson, Cierra Johnson, and Ashley Knight, 3 seniors come into the game for Bama.
And you're seeing Alabama double down onto the low post out of that matchup zone.
And right away, Cierra Johnson paying dividends, gets the steal, and here comes Bama. Lost out of bounds, and that will get us to our first immediate timeout. Well, it was a slow start for Alabama, but Mississippi State on an 8-0 run to go up by 3 here in the first. Trying to, and this is something you as a former coach, you were talking with him about, like late February, usually you kind of scale things down, but he feels like he still needs to do a lot of coaching, a lot of teaching with this group.
Well, I had a game here last year at this time, and Vic straight up told me, he said, I don't know how these coaches cut their practices. He said, I still need to get my fundamentals in and go through everything. And so today I just said, because of the youth, do you need to start shortening practices to keep them fresh mentally? And he said, I'm starting to do a little bit, which I think is a big step for Vic Schaefer.
Yes. That's like a mile for anybody else. Jackson on the inside. Previous foul was on Maya Taylor. Her first, and Alabama will take over.
Where both point guards for these teams have to stay out of foul trouble and stay on the floor. And we heard the crowd getting a little bit feisty because they thought Rickea Jackson drew a foul when she went up with it. But as we just saw, it was clean.
Lewis with the push, defended by Danbury.
And Eric, something to watch for Jordan Lewis and this Alabama ball club. She's going to have to exert so much to take care of the ball and bring the ball up against this pressure defense. What will she have in the tank from a scoring perspective for the rest of the game?
Richardson passed up the 3. We'll try it too. She's only attempted 6 3-pointers this year. Johnson was fouled on the way up, and she'll shoot 2. Danbury picks up her first personal. That's key because she has battled foul trouble last couple of games. In fact, she fouled out against Auburn, played 29 minutes, played really well in the second half of that game, but fouled out before overtime.
Well, and in Danbury's defense, she's usually taking the best offensive player on the opponent's team, Ryan Howard. Today, we're seeing it in Jordan Lewis, and so it puts her in a bad position to begin with. But she's a player, in my opinion, both she and Maya Taylor are the mainstays from a defensive perspective, and what Vic Schaefer wants to do, he needs these 2 veteran players on the floor.
Well, Danbury will go to the bench with the foul, and Zaria Wiggins played well against Auburn, knocked down a couple of key 3-pointers during that second half comeback. Is the first player off the bench for the Bulldogs, who have won 23 games this year, 11-2 in the SEC, and 11-1 here on their home floor. Jackson.
Great job by Mississippi State to getting the ball in the middle of the key area against that 2-3 matchup zone. Alabama tried to mix it up by extending it into the half court. Mississippi State just shredded it for that easy shot.
Mississippi State shooting 5 of 8 from the field here in the early going. Skip to the corner, and the 3 is too strong from Jasmine Walker.
I do like that Cierra Johnson immediately went to Jackson on the defensive rebound to try to slow down the break and allow her teammates to get set defensively.
Jackson, 2 more.
I mean, Eric, that's a shot that usually seniors struggle to make, and the game has slowed down so much for Rickea Jackson, and she's just making plays left and right.
Maya Taylor just picked up her second personal foul.
Well, we call Jackson clutch. Well, now she's not waiting until the second half. She is ready to score for Mississippi State today. Here with a little jab fake, elevates to knock down the jumper from the free throw line, and now off the bounce. This is where I think she's the most difficult to defend because of her ability to elevate and knock it down.
Taylor to the bench. Jemiah Mingo Young will come in. Bibby got a hand on that and knocked it out of bounds. Big Schaefer looking for more consistency from his point guards, Taylor and Mingo Young. Mingo Young, a freshman. Taylor, redshirt sophomore. Knocked out of the hands and then out of bounds off of Brittany Davis. Another turnover for Alabama. That's their fourth.
I love the play call, though. Knowing that Mississippi State was going to try to deny, they curl it. Unfortunately, just led Davis a little bit too far with the pass.
Hannah Barber on the floor for Alabama. Good shooter. Bibby shooting over that zone and draining the three. Was 0 for 2 from outside the three-point line against Auburn. She's at 35% now for the season. Maybe not as prolific from outside the three-point line last year compared to her past, as on the drive Johnson was fouled, but she is still dangerous if given an opportunity, and her eyes will get pretty wide when facing a zone.
Well, Chloe Bibby used all of her 6'1" frame to get this shot off over Cierra Johnson, who was running out to her for her 37th made three on the season.
Three-point shot has not been a big part of the offense for Schaefer's team. They're making, on average, 4 a game. Espinosa, Hunter, and Bibby are those three-point shooters. They've had success driving the basketball, the dribble drive, and getting into the paint and scoring in the paint.
Well, I think that's a part of their game that needs to rebound and do better. They need to be able to space the floor. When you have a shooter knocking them down consistently like we saw a year ago, it spreads the offense and allows that dribble drive to really get going.
2 minutes to go here in the first.
And we're seeing the dribble drive right now, and Alabama switching around the perimeter to try to contain the dribble penetration.
Mingo Young got caught up in the air and threw it out of bounds. Third turnover for Mississippi State. Again, turnovers have been an issue. They committed 21 against Auburn. 1 week ago, they had 17 against Kentucky, which led to 20 points for the Wildcats off of those turnovers.
And Eric, I went to Alabama's practice yesterday, and they worked a lot on the perimeter players getting open so they could initiate their offense.
Battle for the loose ball. Batted out. Good hustle play by Cierra Johnson. Davis will launch a three. Shot clock goes down to 2.
Cierra Johnson's made her presence felt. She's gotten on the glass. She's been a great defender for Alabama.
Wiggins. Jackson. Carter gets involved in the offense.
And Eric, that's where we're seeing the growth of Carter's game. Her ability to step out, not just be an offensive rebounder put back.
Off the turnover, Mingo Young comes up short, and the rebound for Knight. Barber wants to drive it on Mingo Young, and Carter came out to help. Let's see who they call the foul on. And it's on Mingo Young. Looks like Carter came in and got the clean block, but Mingo Young got her with the body.
Well, no one dressed in maroon agrees with this whistle, but I do agree. Mingo Young got her with the body. Carter definitely had all ball. Mingo Young had body.
Hannah Barber, sophomore out of Homewood, Alabama, averaging 7 minutes a game. Gets an early look here. Knocked down a couple of threes for Alabama. Helped them to that victory against Florida. Really a key win for the Crimson Tide. When we've talked about that, the logjam, the perfect word to use for the middle of the pack in the SEC. And these teams, including Christy Curry's team, trying to get a little separation and get a little bit higher seed. After today, only 2 games to go in the season.
You're getting remorseful there, partner, at the end of the season.
I know.
But no, I agree with you. The win is so big because that was Alabama and Florida's only meeting of the season. So that allows Alabama to have the tiebreaker should they and Florida finish with the same record.
Carter rips down the rebound. Jackson. 8 points for the freshman on 4 of 5 shooting. And that will bring us to the end of the first quarter. And I think the timing is perfect. Christy had a conversation time. So Bama with 5 first quarter turnovers. That led to 5 Mississippi State points. And there's turnover number 6. And that magic number of 13 is getting closer and closer, way too early in this game for Alabama.
Well, the only good news I can say about that turnover, it's a dead ball turnover. It at least allows Alabama's defense to get set versus Mississippi State getting out in transition.
Too strong from Wiggins. Lewis on the deck. Chloe Bibby going to try to help her up because Bibby made some pretty solid contact while Lewis was down. And it will be Mississippi State ball.
Well, Eric, if you're going to come into the hump and upset Mississippi State, there's got to be 2 areas that you have to solidify. One's taking care of the ball and not allowing Mississippi State points off turnovers, and the other one is minimizing Mississippi State's second chance points opportunities.
Bibby, not this time. And there's a second chance opportunity for Mississippi State thanks to Jessica Carter. Wiggins got her defender in the air. Strong drive for 2 and the foul.
Well, Eric, I've said it for a month now. I think Zaria Wiggins could be the X factor for Mississippi State. Here you just see the explosiveness off that bounce. Gets up, draws the foul for the and 1.
Second chance opportunity for Mississippi State. They just cashed in. You can see this season what they've done scoring off of turnovers and second chance points. So Wiggins, who's averaging 4.5 points a game, has 3. Numbers have been up in SEC play, actually playing 17 minutes a game. So she's getting an opportunity. Lewis, and the 3 for Cierra Johnson.
And that's Cierra Johnson's 7th point. And Eric, Alabama's just made a living this season with their points from the bench. They've been able to get production. They have outscored their opponents 778 points to 440. We're seeing Cierra Johnson's a big reason why.
Wiggins. Bibby on the glass, knocked it out of bounds. Will be Alabama ball. For Cierra Johnson, she's got plenty of experience as a starter. She was preseason second team SEC, but she's been coming off the bench this year for Bama.
Was a nice 1-2 punch because she did run the point last year because, as you mentioned earlier, Jordan Lewis was out with an injury. And so now to bring that kind of scoring, that kind of athleticism and explosiveness off the bench is only a bonus for this Crimson Tide ball club.
Jordan Danbury in the game as Mingo Young will sit down.
And I feel like Christy Curry and her staff are trying to get moments of breaks for her players because she knows the depth of Mississippi State, much less this high-intensity defense, trying to keep her players fresh.
Second chance opportunity for Alabama, cashed in by Lewis.
And that's key for Alabama. Alabama comes in averaging 7 made threes a game. They're going to have to knock some down from deep in order to keep this close.
Carter, offensive foul. First foul on Jessica Carter.
Eric, when I watched Alabama's practice yesterday, they kept talking about make sure you're rotating and you're getting there in time to draw a charge because they knew Mississippi State was going to do that, so they knew the officials would be watching. There it pays dividends as Cierra Johnson gets the charge call.
Well, Johnson getting it done on both ends of the floor, taking the contact there. She's got a team-high 7 points on the other end, and Alabama trying to attack again. Copeland couldn't get it. Danbury comes away with it up to Bibby. Now Bibby looked for a split second like she was going to walk herself into a turnover, but kept her footing, banks it in. She's got 7, and it's a 7-point lead for Mississippi State.
Well, I just think Bibby just showed us her basketball acumen. Instead of going too far, taking that extra dribble, trying to force a pass, she comes up short and just knocks it in.
Bibby sells the contact. Offensive foul on Alabama.
Offensive foul on 40, Walker, her first foul.
Something Mississippi State does well, taking charges. And let's take you back to when Danbury came up with it and found Bibby.
Well, Eric, you don't get to be 23-4 in the country without hustle plays, and that's exactly what that last possession was. Started with Carter, Danbury keeps alive, and Bibby finishes at the rim.
Danbury spinning, dropping it down to Carter. Beautiful.
And that's when you're defending Mississippi State, you have got to be able to contain dribble penetration, because if you come off, that's where Jessica Carter makes a living.
How about that? Carter gets the steal, turns right around and scores, and a timeout's called by Alabama as the hump comes to life.
She just catches it and knocks it down. Mississippi State up 11. And Tierra McCowan, and that's no disrespect to Tierra, but Jessica Carter can face up. Her low post game is already better. Her footwork right now is already better. So I just think Carter has such a high ceiling.
Yamaya Morris into the game, contributes defensively and threw it up to half court, but Chloe Bibby was running towards the basket the other way. Turnover number 5 for Mississippi State. Danbury just making life tough for Lewis right now. Feed inside, unable to hit is Knight, and it'll be Mississippi State ball.
That's a bucket Ashley Knight has to be able to finish if Alabama's going to have a chance today.
And Alabama is shooting 4 of 16 from the field.
But you can almost tell the Mississippi State defense, they want that ball out of Jordan Lewis's hands, so they're running at her. And so when she dumps it off, players have to be ready to score.
Wiggins on the drive. Good help by Ashley Knight. 50th block of the season for Knight, but Alabama doesn't make the most of it. They turn it over, and Wiggins is fouled.
Well, Ashley Knight is the career blocks leader for Alabama, and we see why. However, it doesn't do you any good if you turn it right back over, and Wiggins takes it up strong to draw the foul on Johnson.
Danbury was the one who was there first defensively for Mississippi State, and you saw the foul on Cierra Johnson, and that will send the sophomore from Virginia Beach to the line to shoot a couple. 6 points in 24 minutes Thursday against Auburn. As I mentioned, those 6 points were those 2 3-pointers as part of the comeback when Mississippi State fell behind by 14.
And Eric, we've talked about what a great game Rickea Jackson had, and you were obviously there, but I just felt like without Wiggins' 2 3-point opportunities, there is no overtime for Mississippi State. I just thought when she made them, how she made them, were huge in Mississippi State's comeback.
Lewis all the way, 4-2. Such a tough player. We told you how she filled up the stat sheet in the win against Florida last time out, leading the team in scoring, leading the team in assists, 3rd in rebounding, leading the team in minutes. Tough to get her off the floor. Jackson, so crafty. Double figures again for Rickea Jackson.
Well, Jackson's listed at 6'2", and then Brittany Davis is all of 5'9". So if that's the matchup Alabama's going to keep on Jackson, expect her to keep going to the rim.
Mississippi State did rotate back defensively. Cierra Johnson, the senior, saw the opening, took advantage. She's got 9.
2 straight scoring opportunities by Alabama off dribble penetration, and it's just left Vic Schaefer shaking his head because he doesn't understand how Alabama's getting to the rim without any kind of defensive rotation. Morris
Was fouled, and she'll shoot a couple. Well, that seems to be the biggest question and concern for Vic Schaefer. It's the defense, and that's always what Mississippi State has taken a lot of pride in and really done so well, but that was very unlike Mississippi State teams of recent vintage to see that kind of breakdown on defense, and that's not the first time. He's seen that time and again.
Well, I asked him, I said, Vic, what's the cause of these breakdowns? He said, I'm listening. If you know, tell me.
Yes.
You know, like he's out of
He
loss
is taking
right now.
suggestions.
Now his inbox is going to get filled up with all the fan suggestions.
Be nice.
He is the Secretary of Defense.
He is a man-to-man defense coach, but he did memorably go to zone in the fourth quarter at Vanderbilt. They were losing in Nashville. They went to zone, really frustrated Vandy, and that led a comeback win for Mississippi State. That's on Danbury. That's number 2. It is. So once again, she's picked up a couple of first half fouls.
Well, credit Jordan Lewis. This is a veteran move. The little change of speed to get by Danbury and then draws the contact to get to the free throw line.
And you saw on the very tail end of that replay that Lewis came down hard on Jordan Danbury, lower leg. And Jordan's tying up her laces now. She's staying on the floor with the 2 fouls, but she's been walking a little gingerly.
Rick, I love that last move by Jordan Lewis because so many young players always feel like they have to beat speed with speed. And the hardest thing in the game of basketball to defend is change of speed, and that's why Jordan Lewis just got those free throws.
Lewis with 9, Johnson with 9 for Alabama. Carter back into the game for the Bulldogs. Danbury, that's her spot, just not following right now. She's been in a little bit of a scoring slump. Lewis blows by Danbury. Now we've seen some missed layups for Alabama. They can't afford that if they're going to knock off a top 10 team. Off the Jackson miss.
Eric, Jasmine Walker has to get going for this Alabama offense for them to have a chance. So far scoreless in this game.
A turnover by Alabama, a foul on Knights. Danbury will head to the bench. Keep an eye on her to see if she's okay as Mingo Young comes in. Men's basketball on the SEC Network on Wednesday after their buzzer-beating win at Vandy last night. Georgia will take on South Carolina in Columbia, 6:30 Eastern, 5:30 Central. Then off to Fayetteville, Arkansas taking on Tennessee. It's here on the SEC Network and the ESPN app on Wednesday. Oh, 5 fouls on Alabama, 2 free throws the rest of the way this quarter for Mississippi State. And Wiggins back at the line.
It's almost like these last 2 possessions for Alabama. It's a microcosm of the season. Missed layup that could have cut into this lead, and then another turnover. And that's how close Alabama's been all season, but they cannot afford not to capitalize when they get high-scoring opportunities if they're going to get a W here at the hump today.
Hannah Barber back into the game for Alabama.
And Eric, so far in this game, Alabama 2 of 8 on layups. Now, some of that, I think, is the length down low, the rim protectors in both Carter and Young. But Alabama just has to finish at the rim.
Carter, a little high wire act on the baseline to keep it in play. And then this is what's happened a lot for Mississippi State. They just throw it away without any pressure.
And Eric, I meant to say Carter and Morris, but you're seeing the agility here of Carter. Little circus act to keep the ball alive. And then
did she?
Oh, well, maybe a little home court line touching there for Mississippi State.
Inside of 3 to play in the first half. Walker, the feed, and Copeland won't miss this one.
Well, and you're seeing the post defense of Mississippi State worried about the guard turning the corner, and that's what allowed Copeland to slip to the rim for those 2 points.
Bibby tried to drop it down. Good defense by Alabama. Barber off to Walker. And another turnover. That's 11 here in the first half for Bama.
Well, I've been very impressed with Bibby's all-around game today. She's knocked down a couple of shots, but she has run the floor hard in transition. She's gotten on the glass, but it's been her defense that's been a happy surprise to see.
Wiggins. It will remain Mississippi State ball. They said all contact on the basketball by the Alabama defense.
I don't think the Mississippi State fans agree with the officials on that one. Terry Wiggins with a great crossover, comes back. Now, Knight got ball, but she did come across Wiggins' left arm there, so I understand why the Bulldog fans are a little upset.
Andra Espinoza-Hunter into the game. Shot clock is down to 2, down to 1. Bibby got it off in time. Mingo Young skies for the rebound and a second chance opportunity for the Bulldogs. Espinoza-Hunter ran into Lewis, gets called for the foul.
Offensive foul number 2 on Espinoza-Hunter, her first, the team's third.
8 turnovers now for Mississippi State. Lewis. Barber, open look for 3. Excellent shooter, can't leave her open. And Alabama building a little confidence here. They had some wide open looks. They've made a couple layups, something that they were missing out on earlier. And now Barber joins in, knocking down the triple.
Well, Hannah Barber came in last year as a point guard. Now Christy Curry's moving her to the off guard sometimes because she's been shooting so well from 3. And Eric, her 2 threes in the first half against Florida, I thought were huge for Alabama because Florida had gone on a run and extended her lead before Barber knocked them down.
Jackson turned it over, and then it was turned right back over by Alabama.
The sophomore Hannah Barber spotting up, and Jordan Lewis finding her for the open 3 in the corner.
So Jackson heads to the bench. Maya Taylor is into the game. She's got 2 personal fouls, remember, so she's been on the bench for a while.
And Eric, we're seeing Alabama mix up how they defended the out-of-bounds play. We've seen matchup zone. This time they went man.
Wiggins gets the roll.
And I even think Copeland may have had a hand on that shot, but Wiggins just wheels it in.
9 points for Wiggins, again averaging 5 points a game in conference play. Walker off the mark. She's been cold here so far this afternoon, 0 for 5 from the field.
Rick Schaefer yelling to pull it out. He wants them to take the last shot of the half.
Taylor back to Wiggins. 5 on the shot clock. Taylor into traffic, back to Carter. Bibby gets the rebound, but that will do it for the first quarter. So a good little bump for Alabama at the end of that second quarter to bring it down to a 10-point game.
I mean, Alabama hasn't played perfectly, but they're within striking distance. If they can take care of the ball and finish at the rim, we should be in for a great.
Wanted to keep it at 13 and under for the game, and they're almost at that number here at halftime.
Well, Eric, I'll take those 12 turnovers, and I'll raise you the 15 points Mississippi State has scored off those turnovers. So for Alabama, yes, it is ball security, take care of the ball, but they also have to do a better job of keeping Mississippi State off the glass.
Now, when Alabama hasn't turned the ball over, as we saw in the second quarter, and they made their layups, they were able to stop that Mississippi State run as they try to get things going here. First possession of the second quarter. There is Walker on the glass, but she's called for the foul. Because Mississippi State showed some big holes defensively at times there in that first half.
Well, I remember 2 straight possessions in the second quarter where Alabama took it coast to coast because no one stopped ball and there was no rotation to help off the dribble penetration. Mississippi State has to get back to playing team defense in the half court.
Foul on Walker, her second personal. Danbury had it knocked away. Mississippi State still with it. Taylor, tough shot. Second chance opportunity again for Mississippi State. How about a third chance as Jackson has it knocked out of bounds. In the first half, Mississippi State was a +5 in rebounding margin. They haven't been a great rebounding team this year. +2 on the season, although they were +12 on Thursday, and that helped them win. Well, Jackson got inside, couldn't score, and Bibby touched it last. Alabama ball. Cierra Johnson getting the start here in the second half for Alabama after providing a good spark off the bench in the first half for Crimson Tide.
I thought she was solid defensively. She gave such a change of pace on offense for Alabama. She knocked down that three. She got to the rim. I think she can continue to get to the rim. She just has to slow down and finish once she gets by her defender.
Officials trying to make sure they got the clock right here, and I think
Eric,
they got the foul
yes.
confused. It's on Jackson, and they get it cleared up.
He almost gave it to Carter, so that's why they're trying to get that cleaned up.
Abrams, tough shot. There's Cierra Johnson, Jasmine Walker rather, on the glass, and a second chance here for Bama.
Well, you're seeing both clubs be able to collect these offensive rebounds because the perimeter players have gotten to the rim off a dribble penetration, and that's forced the defense to scramble.
Copeland on the inside, just not happening. She's 1 for 5 from the field. Danbury all the way, count it, and the foul.
Well, Danbury has shaken off the rust that she showed in the last couple of games, and she has been aggressive on the offensive end. Takes it hard to the rim. Jordan Lewis comes over, but gets called for the block.
See, Lewis had her heel on that restricted arc, so blocking call on Lewis. That's her second personal foul. Copeland will head to the bench. Ashley Knight in the game. Danbury can't finish off the three-point play, and here comes Alabama. Lewis rattles in the three.
And credit Cierra Johnson for her ability off the bounce to beat her defender, draw help side, and then kick it out to Jordan Lewis.
Jordan Lewis, who joined the 1,000-point club this year. Redshirt junior who already has her diploma, working now in her MBA. Playing well on the basketball court, doing well in the classroom. There's Carter inside her first points of the second half. 8 points now for Carter to go along with 7 rebounds.
Well, anytime I do a Mississippi State game, I always ask the opposing coach, how are you going to defend dribble penetration if your perimeter players get beat? Are you coming off Carter or not? Alabama's coming off Carter, which is why she was open for those last 2 points.
That's got to feel good for Jasmine Walker, who is really struggling from the field. 0 for 5, including 0 for 3 from outside the three-point line, but had all day to size up that three to knock it down, and Alabama's within 12.
And Walker is the leading three-point shooter for Alabama. And Christy Curry told us, I need 4 players in double figures, and she said it had to be Lewis, had to be Walker, and her post player, Uriah Copeland, and then one of the wings. So far, it's only been Lewis.
Carter with a nifty little turnaround to get into double figures. She and Jackson each with 10.
I feel like Carter goes about her business throughout a game, and then you look at the stat sheet afterward, and it's an easy double-double because she just does what she does.
You can see they're having a little trouble getting the actual score of the game right, so I think we've got it corrected now. It's 43-33. They're working here in the building on it. I think we had a hometown scoreboard operator there. All of a sudden, Mississippi State was up by way too much compared to what was happening here in this third quarter. Teams have played it even 6-6. Jackson picks up her second personal, and here is Abrams. Alabama 6th in the conference in free throw shooting at 70%. Wiggins on the floor for the Bulldogs. And she gets the rebound. Abrams struggled from the line Thursday. She was 1 for 5 against Florida. Those struggles have continued. Taylor. Back out to Bibby for the open three. Johnson with the rebounds. Got Walker on her right. Good hustle play by Danbury, but Walker sticks with it for 2.
And that's how Alabama can get back in this game. Anytime Mississippi State misses, they've got to push tempo and try to score before the defense sets up for the Bulldogs.
Inside of 6 to go, third quarter. Taylor, unselfish play, maybe a little too unselfish as Carter has her shot blocked. It's like Taylor had an open look for 2. Wiggins. Door is open here for the Crimson Tide, and it's in the hands of Lewis. Lewis, count it, and the foul. Jordan Lewis, a chance for a 3-point play.
Well, Eric, now I'm going to set you up and talk about just how right you are, because you said it's in the hands of Jordan Lewis, and the point guard just sizes up the defense. Great crossover to get to the rim, draw the foul for the and one.
And the foul is on Maya Taylor. That's her 3rd.
You got to give Lewis some credit just for the roll afterwards. It was so graceful.
So Lewis at the free throw line. Danbury comes out. Taylor stays in with the 3 fouls. Lewis 71% from the free throw line. So 15 now for Jordan Lewis, following up that 16-point, 8-rebound, 6-assist game against Florida. You see what she's done, especially from outside the 3-point line, on target here for the Tide. Down to a 5-point game. One and done this time as Knight gets the rebound. Barber's in the game now for Alabama. After struggling from the field in the first quarter, Alabama was better in the second quarter, and they've been outstanding here in quarter number 3. Not that time, though, for Lewis. Wiggins dropped it off for Carter. I was about to ask you, what does Mississippi State do with their go-to scorer as of late, Rickea Jackson, on the bench, and you look for your number 2 option, and that's Jessica Carter.
Well, there you saw the inexperience of Davis on the floor. Alabama's been switching around the perimeter. That time she doesn't talk, and that's how she gets to the rim for the easy 2.
William Atharu is in for Mississippi State. That's Brittany Davis getting her first points. Taylor in trouble, and it was last touched by Alabama, it does appear. That'll get us to our media timeout, and we'll get it cleared up during this break with 4:01 to go in the 3rd. It's top 50 and what Charlie's projection is for each program.
Well, and if you're a Texas A&M fan, if they win, they're only going to move up in that seeding because they still have this Alabama ball club coming to them on Thursday, and they finish off at South Carolina next Sunday.
Rickea Jackson back into the game for Mississippi State. Shot clock down to 4. Knocked out of Jackson's hands. Good hustle play. With the shot clock expiring, I think they're going to put 1 second on the clock. It will be Mississippi State ball because Johnson made contact out of bounds. Or will they reset the shot clock here? Are they going to say that possession changed?
No, I think she's saying put 1 second on the clock.
Yes, that's the right call. Now, right before the break, there was a foul called on Brittany Davis for Alabama. Now, Carter unaware that they put 1 on the clock, and
that was a long 1 second.
That was a 1.99999 on the clock, apparently.
Well, growing up, we always counted 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi.
Well, you're in the right place for that.
Exactly. That was a long Mississippi.
Well, when you're broadcasting a game in Mississippi or playing a game in Mississippi, it can be as long as you want, especially if you're the team with the Mississippi State colors on, apparently.
Exactly.
Walker, little step back. Carter with the rebound. One key number for Alabama here in this second half, Christy, is they have not turned the ball over. Taylor finds an opening to the basket for 2.
How shifty is Maya Taylor with that crossover move? She has beaten Alabama's defenders off the bounce a number of times already today.
Looks like Cierra Johnson jammed a finger or a thumb. I think she's hearing it from her teammates on the bench a little bit about how good this was.
Well, I've already talked about change of pace, but there's also change of direction where Maya Taylor just shakes the defender and gets to the rim.
Back into the hands of Jordan Lewis. Lewis leading all scorers with 15 points, has 4 rebounds, 3 assists. Defended here by Taylor. Again, Taylor with 3 fouls. Matharu getting a hand in there. Back to Lewis. Shot clock at 5. Davis launches well off the mark and last touched by Alabama. Mississippi State ball.
Like I was just thinking before Davis rushed that shot about how you have to deliver passes on the money against Mississippi State because their closing out and rotations are so quick. That time, though, Davis just rushed that shot. Unfortunately, it was way off.
Johnson's played well here. We haven't seen Deja Benjamin since the opening minutes for this game. She started, but was battling with a foot injury, so we'll keep an eye and see if she comes back in. Cierra Johnson's played well here off the bench for Alabama today. Shot clock down to 4. Matharu has to try a deep 3. Carter gets called for the foul. Substitution coming in for Alabama as Megan Abrams comes in. I can remind you that Friday Night Heights this week on the SEC Network and the ESPN app features a gymnastics doubleheader starting with Georgia taking on Florida at 7 Eastern, 6 Central. Then it's Kentucky and Alabama in Tuscaloosa, all Friday on the SEC Network. Walker.
The last time Alabama had a baseline out of bounds going full court, I thought to myself, Alabama's got to go a home run pass at some point to lessen up this defense. That time they hit Jasmine Walker, who finishes at the rim.
Walker's got 7 points all this half for Alabama. Tharu, tough shot. Johnson comes away. Alabama with the ball down by 5. And again, a wide open look. Buried by Walker. Timeout, Mississippi State. Now the smiles being shown by the Crimson Tide, who are within 2 at the hump.
We said Jasmine Walker
Not committed a turnover here in the third quarter. As a result, 2-point game.
We've seen Alabama extend that zone into the half court, trying to just mix it up defensively against Mississippi State.
Rickea Jackson has not scored here in the third quarter. They find her, and she has an open look, and the drought ends for Jackson. 12 points now for the freshman.
Great execution by Mississippi State out of the timeout, finding their leading scorer in the middle of the paint, wide open.
Inside of a minute to go here in the third. Now Walker's feeling it now. Not that time. And it'll be Mississippi State ball. Walker wanted the shot, just couldn't deliver.
This game, talking about how hot Rickea Jackson was on Thursday night. Had a lull at the beginning part of this quarter, but there, just nice, soft catch and shoot.
Do you want to repeat that?
Just nice, soft catch and shoot. It's not fair. I mean, this is a freshman who's just making things look so easy.
Well, also Mississippi State taking that timeout with Alabama coming within 2 and determined to get Jackson, their leading scorer, back involved in the offense. Down to 3, down to 2, down to 1, and that will do it for the quarter. So better stretch of play there out of the timeout for Mississippi State. They take a 6-point lead.
Just repeat, early detection. I am blessed and lucky to be here today, be here working with you. But I believe in the KL Cancer Fund wholeheartedly. $1, 1 drug, 1 life. It is the power of 1.
1 quarter to go here between Mississippi State and Alabama. Well said, Christy. And you're just being nice to say it's nice to be sitting next to me. I know you just threw that in just for the heck of it. Carter will head to the free throw line, shoot a couple.
No one I'd rather be sitting here with today, partner.
So Jessica Carter had 6 points in that third quarter. Will shoot a couple. Had a double-double last time out, 17 points, 10 boards. Also added 2 blocks and 3 steals. And she is closing in on another double-double here today, now at 13 and 9.
And Eric, as we come out into this fourth quarter, I'm really eager to see any adjustments both head coaches have made as we go into the stretch run.
Well, Mississippi State trying to turn up the pressure here. Lewis will now bring it back out. Lewis leans in to Taylor, who stood her ground, and Carter's got a rebound. Out to Danbury. Count it, and the foul. This is Jordan's game. It looked like she had Rakia Jackson wide open underneath, but first the outlet from Carter.
Well, you have to stop Jordan Danbury in transition sooner. And I'm sorry, that's just a really weak call in my opinion. Shot went down, call with the trail for the and one.
Would you like to expand on that, or have you said your piece?
Well,
this is the coach in you coming out
right now.
Yeah,
I mean, again, if I'm an Alabama coaching staff right now, I'm frustrated. And Jordan Lewis initiated some contact, but Taylor was moving on the other end. No call, and then you have just that light contact on this end.
Abrams got called for the foul, and that right there will go into the books as the first turnover of the second half for Alabama. So critical time right here. We're a minute into the fourth quarter. Mississippi State has brought it back out to double digits, and they've got the basketball.
5-0 run by Mississippi State out of the quarter. Eric, I just want to go back to why I was critical of that call. Coaches just want consistency on both ends of the court.
Foul's going to be called here on Knight.
Knight got her with the body. Someone else had all ball, but Knight came in on the rotation and definitely fouled Danbury off the bounce. That was like a volleyball stuff.
So Knight is going to come out. Christy Curry is taking a timeout. I think she's looking for an explanation on the foul to see who. And right away they look for Carter.
Mississippi State loves just kind of a little screen in action on this stack to give Carter that little alley-oop, and Carter does the rest and makes it go down.
Double-double for Carter, 16 points, 10 rebounds. Lewis goes down, and then it was last touched by Alabama, so it's Mississippi State ball.
Great execution by Mississippi State. Out of this baseline, out of bounds, just passes it in off of the Danbury screen, and Carter finishes.
10th double-double this year for sophomore Jessica Carter.
That's what I said. She just goes about her business, and before you know it, she's just got a double-double every night.
It's been all Mississippi State here in this fourth quarter, although that won't drop for Jackson. They've outscored Alabama 7-0 to start the fourth. Remember, they had that little burst at the end of the third quarter. This is an 11-0 run, which started in the third quarter, has continued here in the fourth. Danbury picks up her third personal. And offensive foul called on Cierra Johnson.
On the catch, I thought Johnson had the shot. Instead, she challenges the defender and gets called for the charge.
Well, Maya Taylor entered this game having taken 41 charges this season, so she can add to her total. And she adds to her turnover total, which is the number she's not looking for. Foul called on Wiggins. That will send Cierra Johnson to the free throw line. So a couple free throws coming up for Cierra Johnson, a 71% free throw shooter. Second personal foul on Wiggins. 2 team fouls now on Mississippi State this quarter, 4 already on Alabama. A reminder, men's basketball doubleheader coming up on the SEC Network on Wednesday. South Carolina taking on Georgia to get things started. Tennessee will follow against Arkansas. You can see it on the SEC Network and the ESPN app. First point of the second half for Johnson. She's in the double figures with 10. So that's 3 Alabama players in double figures. They're looking for 4. Danbury weaves through traffic. Walker the rebound. Barber. Barber just putting on a dribbling show at the moment. Finds Copeland. Blocked by Carter. 4 to shoot for Bama.
Well, Hannah Barber had to have the ball in her hands because she could not get an entry pass in the offense. Mississippi State denying every one of those handoffs and entry passes, making it hard on the Crimson Tide offense.
Walker launches a 3 and drains it from deep. Jasmine Walker with 13 points, all in the second half. Big hoop there for Bama to bring it back to single digits.
And now can Alabama get a stop on the defensive end and try to get a little momentum going?
Taylor tried to feed it in, and it's taken away. Turnover by Mississippi State, so Alabama gets that stop. Walker, can she do it again? Yes! Another 3 drained by Jasmine Walker.
That is Alabama's 9th made 3 here this afternoon.
Crowd at the hump makes some noise. Approaching 6 minutes to go. Turnover. Walker with the steal and the score, and Alabama is now on a run.
Well, and Jasmine Walker, I was watching her eyes as that pass was made. She was waiting for it, shot the gap cleanly to get that layup.
9-0 run for Alabama. The last 8 points scored by Jasmine Walker. Danbury drops it off to Carter, who's in trouble. And Walker's got a rebound. Barber. They're trying to get it into Walker's scorching hot hand. Batted out of bounds. It will be Alabama ball.
Well, Eric, I said it from the beginning. Alabama needed Jasmine Walker to get hot, and she has done just that here in the second half. First from the 3, and then she does it with her defense. Shoots the gap on the pass and takes it coast to coast for the 2.
Scoring off the 13th turnover of the game. Walker again, she scored the last 10 points for Alabama. It's an 11-0 run for the Crimson Tide. It's back to a 2-point game.
I've always said sports are about inches, and that was an inch away from being a turnover, but Jasmine Walker stays with the ball to get the 2 points.
Timeout called by Mississippi State run. That was at the end of the third quarter, carrying over to the 4th. Now it's an 11-0 run for Bama.
And Alabama had been in man, but out of that timeout, they switched to the 2-3.
Wiggins almost threw it away. Taylor's got it. Oh, we've seen it plenty of times before. A team makes a few shots, they get a little energized on the defensive end, and that seemed to be the case for Alabama. Made it tough for the Bulldogs. Inside of 5 to play in the 4th.
You know, Eric, I'll just say it again. Alabama's had so many close losses. Have they learned from it? And is this the day that they put all those lessons to fruition?
Tie-up, possession arrow will keep it with Alabama.
How many times have we seen Maya Taylor and Jordan Danbury get their hands in on the crossover by Alabama and either get the deflection or get the steal?
Chloe Bibby will come into the game for Wiggins.
I get the feeling that was about that last pass Wiggins met, just not being strong and secure with the ball.
Officials having another conversation here. Well, Christy Curry did not get a technical foul. She was pushing up against the edge of the envelope, but that did fire her team up. Whether that's it or just getting in the hands of Jasmine Walker, which is probably more the case.
Right. Good players make coaches look good, and that's what Jasmine Walker's doing right now.
Walker defended by Bibby. Walker maybe doing a little bit too much. She gets tied up, and we know the arrows with Mississippi State now.
We'll credit the team defense of Mississippi State there for forcing that turnover.
Now making her first appearance today is Allie Craig Cruz, the sophomore who did not play against Florida. She'll check into the game as Walker will get a rest. See how long Walker's on the bench here. Probably not too long.
I have a feeling that's like, get your one last blow, Jasmine, because we're going to ride you the rest of this game.
Danbury. And they're going to count the basket, and a chance for a three-point play for Jordan Danbury.
We've been used to Vic Schaefer going through Jackson here in late game scenarios, but I love the call to get Danbury the ball off the high on ball screen, crossover, goes through the contact and kisses it off the glass.
She can't finish off the three-point play, and the rebound for Johnson, who wants to run. Johnson threw it up for grabs. Abrams by Jackson. Abrams, tough spot, but a tough finish.
That's one of those, the coach are going, no, 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 yes! I thought Abrams got in trouble because she killed her dribble. Somehow was able to get the ball up and off the glass.
Coach, teammate, fan, they were all probably saying that, but it worked out well for Megan. And for Alabama back within two. Carter tries it from outside and hits.
We've seen her in the low post. We've seen her off offensive rebounds. We've definitely seen her with a 15-foot knockdown today.
Jordan Lewis. Lewis takes it to the basket, and it just won't drop for Lewis. She'll shoot two. Jessica Carter, 18 points on 8 of 12 shooting, 11 rebounds.
Well, this is if you're Vic Schaefer. You're feeling like anything you call right now is going to work. He pulls out his starting post player at 6'5" for the 16-foot jumper, and she knocks it down.
Fouls on Maya Taylor. That's 4 now on Taylor. Jasmine Walker is back into the game for Alabama.
And so now what defense does Alabama go to? I feel like their man's been a little bit better at containing the dribble penetration this half.
Lewis with 17. Walker with 20 for Alabama, back within 2.
Alabama in that man-to-man, switching around the perimeter.
Danbury comes up short, and a rebound for Ashley Knight. Alabama can tie or take the lead.
And so the Alabama perimeter players need to keep their dribble alive. This is where they've gotten into trouble this quarter, when they killed their dribble.
Abrams finishes, and Alabama has tied it at 62.
And that's where you got to know the scouting report on Abrams, and that's that she's a lefty. She's going to go left, gets to the rim, and finishes.
Jackson won't go, and Abrams has the rebound. Alabama scored the game's first 5 points. They gave up the lead soon after. They can't get the lead here because Jackson, with the block, kept it in play, takes it herself, and will go to the line. I think the roof would have blown off the hump if she finished that play.
Well, Abrams had just scored, but here I thought she should have made the kick out versus challenging Jackson. Gets the block and smartly keeps it in play versus knocking it out of bounds. And then she is off to the races, takes it down to the other end and draws the foul.
First free throw attempt of the game for Jackson.
Jackson.
15 points for Jackson. Mentioned it a moment ago, Alabama jumped out to a quick 5-0 lead. Mississippi State went on a run. They have not trailed since. Alabama trying to go back in front for the first time since early in this game, and Christy Curry will take a timeout with 1:37 to go.
UGA last Sunday.
Johnson off to Knight. Knight bobbled it, got it back, and gets it to go. First points for Ashley Knight gives Alabama its first lead since the first quarter. Danbury off to Taylor. Remember, playing with 4. Can't get it, and Knight teams up with Abrams for the rebound. Final minute of the fourth, and Alabama's got the ball and the lead. Lewis.
I think Lewis was trying to be smart, work a little clock, but I don't think she realized that she had that reverse layup all to herself.
Lewis gets it back with 4 to shoot. Has to take a tough shot. And the rebound for Carter. Shot clock and game clock just about synced up here as Mississippi State is down by 1. They will take a timeout. I think you make Andra Espinoza-Hunter has come on for the Bulldogs.
And Eric, if you're Alabama, you have to make sure that the second chance opportunity does not beat you. You need to defend, but then you must box out because we know Mississippi State will be attacking the offensive glass.
They're looking for Jackson. Jackson goes to work. Jackson lost the handle. Thrown up and a foul called. Espinoza-Hunter will go to the line to shoot 2 with 5 seconds to go. Knight has fouled out. Espinoza-Hunter has played just 2 minutes here tonight. And she will go to the line to shoot 2 with the game on the line. 67% free throw shooter.
And Eric, Knight fouling out. Offensively, it's not a big blow for Alabama, but she is that rim protector. Again, the all-time leading blocks leader for Alabama. Copeland, now, on the other hand, is much more that offensive player for Alabama.
Espinoza-Hunter short on the first. This one to tie. Alabama will take a timeout, and they will advance the ball into the front court. 64 all with 5 seconds to go.
I've had a chance to watch Alabama practice now a couple of times, and one thing they do at the end of every practice, doesn't matter if it's pregame or not, is they put 2 minutes on the clock and they play an end-of-the-game situation, and they let the point guards run it. So right now, if I'm Christy Curry, I want Jasmine Walker or Jordan Lewis with the ball. I'll go back to it again. I'm going to say 2-man action, little high on ball screen, because we know Mississippi State's been coming out and attacking the guard, and then have Jasmine Walker pop for that. If I'm Jasmine Walker, though, do not settle for a jumper if you have a chance to get closer to the rim. This is a similar situation that they were in last Sunday against UGA. Cierra Johnson got the ball and settled for a heave of a three-pointer with 3 seconds to go on the clock instead of attacking. Young players out there, 5 seconds on the clock, you technically could get 5 dribbles. If it's a hard...
And a foul is called before the ball was touched on Wiggins, so that will be foul number 4. And now they'll inbound it on the baseline.
And Alabama's out of timeout, so Christy Curry makes the play call, waiting for her team to execute.
Both teams out of timeouts. Tie game at 64. They get it to Walker. Return to Lewis. She's got a look for the win. Tipped up and in, and Alabama wins it. Abrams wins it with the game winner. Let's watch it unfold.
Well, I love that the ball went in, and they immediately went back to Jordan Lewis, who's attacking off the bounce. But everyone rotates, and no one boxes out Megan Abrams, who's smart enough to know she doesn't have time to bring it down and go up, and tips it in for the Alabama win.
What a play by Abrams. The lefty comes flying in.